Today we're going to do a video that's a little more complicated, or a recipe I should say. It's more complicated. And it's banana cinnamon fritters. And because it has a lot of ingredients, as you can see, I decided it would make it easier if I wrote the recipe out, if I photographed the recipe, and at the end of the video you had the recipe so you could follow it. So because it does have a lot of ingredients, I've typed it up this way, and I'll use my own instructions to explain what's in it. You've got 1 pack of dry active yeast. The 1 cup of milk that you're using, you're going to take it and warm it to 110 to 115 degrees. You can do it in the microwave, it might be easier, and then you just use a thermometer, because in order to get the yeast to activate, it needs to be in warm milk. With that said, you also add 1 tablespoon of sugar to the mixture, and then the yeast starts building, and then we add it. So anyway, so we got the milk. We have 3 tablespoons of sugar that we're going to mix into the flour after we get started for flavor, for the sweetness. With that, we're also going to add 1 teaspoon of salt. We're going to add 1 teaspoon of ground cinnamon. We're going to add 4 tablespoons of banana Epicurean Dust. We're going to add 1 large egg, well beaten. We're going to do 2 tablespoons of vegetable oil into the mixture. Now, when you're frying this, you want to do 2 inches of oil. And the reason is you're going to add 8 fritters at a time to the mixture. In order for them not to be crowded, they need about 2 inches. One of the ways you can do this, take a piece of aluminum foil, mark it at 2 inches, take it, when you put the oil in there, set it in your oil, and you can tell if you have 2 inches. With warming the milk, do it in the microwave and just use a thermometer such as this to get the 110, 115 degrees. And what I'll do is I'm going to kill the video, and then I'm going to get some of the ingredients together, and I'll turn the video back on. Okay, our milk is warmed to the correct temperature. I used a thermometer, pull it out, and it shows it what it needs to be. So, because you're going to use a 1/4 cup, it's easier to use a measuring tool. And pouring it out of here, you could pour too much, too little. So just dip in here, get a 1/4 cup, put it in here. Take that, let's put it in the sink. You're going to take your yeast. I've opened it. You're going to take your dry yeast and dump it in here. And you're going to take your sugar, place it in there. Now, I've given the recipe of how to do this on the paper, so it'll make it easier for you. Now, what you're going to do is you're going to mix this up, and then we're going to leave this sit for about 5 minutes. And in 5 minutes, the yeast is going to become activated, and we're ready to roll. In the meantime, after we do that, what we're going to do is we're going to take the dry ingredients, and we're going to blend the dry ingredients together. So let's get this mixed. I got a very small little mixer here, small little wire whip. Tip it up so we get all the yeast that's laying on the bowl. I'm going to get a little rubber measuring spatula. And the rubber spatula will help us get everything down to where we want it, because we need all the yeast to make this work. And then we're going to use a spatula to blend this other products together. Okay. So we're going to let this sit for about 5 minutes. I'll set it over here. We'll move this out of the way. Okay. Next, what we're going to do is we're going to do the dry ingredients. So we've got 3½ cups of flour, and as I always talk in the videos, I always sift the flour. It just works better sifting it. It blends together better. We're going to take the cinnamon, put it in here. It's all the dry ingredients. The salt, the sugar, and I usually use clear glass containers so that you can see the product that's going in. It makes it better. And then the banana Epicurean Dust. Now, one of the things I've noticed is some of the people have said that they didn't know where to find my product. If you go to epicureandusts.com, that brings you to the website, and from the website you can purchase a product. So we've got the dry ingredients. We're going to use a spatula here. We're going to blend them together. And what I'm going to do, instead of you watching me blend this for 2 minutes, kill the video and I'll start as soon as I get it blended. Okay, we're back. We've got all the dry ingredients mixed. We've left the yeast sit for about 5 minutes. At this point, what we're going to do is we're going to take the moist ingredients and add them to the dry ingredients. So we're going to do our oil. We're going to do our egg. And we're going to use a rubber spatula to start off with mixing this. We're going to add our remaining milk. And we're going to add our yeast. Now after we mix this together, what we're going to do, we're going to set it to the side, covered in a warm space. Today what I'm going to do is I'm going to set it outside because it's warm outside. And in less than 40 minutes, it'll double in size and we'll be ready to start our product. So we've got all our dry ingredients in here. What we're going to do is we're going to mix it. We're also going to add, after we mix this, we're going to add the sugar. But I kind of want to get it blended before I added the sugar. So we're going to mix it a little bit here. Well, actually, take that back. I've already added the sugar. This is for the tossing. So we're going to mix this together, and then I'll turn the video on after I get it mixed. Okay, as we mix it, it gets kind of crumbly. As you can see, it looks kind of crumbly. After we're going to take this, we mix it with the rubber spatula. At this point, what we're going to do is take our hands and blend it together so that we get a kind of a nice consistency and it'll be a little stronger and put together. So it looks faint, but we're going to just take our hands, we're going to bring it together like this, and then once I get it into a nice ball, I want to cover it with saran wrap, put it outside for about 40 minutes. It'll double in size, and then we'll start the video up again. Okay, we brought the bowl in, and you see there's saran wrap over the top. One of the things you don't want to do is you don't want to touch the dough with the saran wrap. You want it elevated so that it has area to rise like it should. So it's about double in the size from when I put it in here, which is also good. Now, on my instructions, I said you can use a spoon, but you also can use an ice cream scoop or a cookie scoop. Now, we have the oil here. It's at 350 degrees. If you get much more than 350, 360, they'll start to burn, which you don't want to do. You want them brown, but not black. And then you have a slotted spoon so you can pull them out. You have the wire rack on a baking sheet so that they drain. So if you use a spoon, you get a little spatula, you can dig into here using the spatula, kind of controlling it a little bit. Now, these aren't going to be real fast to do, and they are a little messy, okay? So you got your dough in your spoon, and then what you can do is take the spatula and just drop it in the oil. The other thing you can do, if you have an ice cream scoop like this or a cookie scoop, bring the cookie scoop down, use the spatula, kind of level it off. This makes for a kind of a smoother looking product than the spoon makes it a little bit rougher looking. And then you bring it over here, you scoop it out, and it will eventually drop. There it goes. And they're cooking away. Now, I'll add a number, I'll put more in here and I'll cook them. And then what I'll do is when we're all done, I'll get a nice plate, I'll put them on there and I'll show you what they look dusted with sugar. Because remember we had a little bit of sugar put to the side, which we're gonna dust them with. And we're using granulated sugar, we're not using powdered sugar because it's necessary. Now, one of the things you wanna do is halfway through the cooking process, you wanna roll them over because they're gonna be brown on one side. And I used vegetable shortening because it worked better. And I was lucky my neighbor, Jean and Bob DeYoung, had vegetable oil because I was getting ready to do this and I went like, oh, I don't have enough vegetable oil. So I went over there, they're sweet neighbors, and stole some of theirs. So I'm gonna turn the video off, I'm gonna do a few more, and I'll turn it back on when I've got kind of a pile. And here we have the finished product. They're dusted with sugar. One of the things you wanna remember when frying them, keep an eye on your temperature. The reason is as you put them in there, it'll cool the oil, so you have to increase and decrease. But other than that, I'll take a close-up picture, and I hope you have a good day.